close this section of oral communications, I will invite Érico Bonfim and Carlos Almada to talk about Rosemary Brown's new scale and the property K.
Hello, everyone. Great to be here. So I'll present a paper. So you hear me, right? That's okay?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So I'll present a paper by me and my supervisor, Carlos Almada. Let me share my screen. Okay. Do you see that?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great, thank you. So this paper is focused on a scale apparently invented by Rosemary Brown. So I'll briefly introduce her. Let me just measure the time. Okay. So Rosemary Brown was a British composer who claimed to be a spirit medium. So starting in the 60s, she attributed hundreds of musical pieces to the spirits of great historical composers. So you heard that correctly. She would compose a musical piece and she would say, okay, this one is by the spirit of Chopin, and this other piece is by the spirit of Beethoven or Liszt or Debussy and so on. And some of her pieces impressed the critics since they seemed to be successful style reproductions. So my current PhD research is focused on her music attributed to Liszt. So her musical pieces that she claims are from the spirit of Liszt. And this paper is focused on a particular piece or a scale that was apparently invented in this piece that is called New Scale Modulations. So this is a musical piece that was never published nor recorded. So no one knows this piece. And this piece invents a new scale by means of invented key signatures. Okay, so this is her manuscript, part of it. So this is a musical piece which uses a new scale. So those are, you can see there that there are 4 different key signatures. All those key signatures generate the same transposed scale, so the same transposed pitch structure. That scale, so all those key signatures result in the same transposed scale, which is 3-1-3-1-2-1-1, in which each number is corresponds to semitones. So it's a heptatonic scale, and this is the sequence of semitones. This particular rotation is given by the use that she makes in the piece. So the piece uses this mode in particular, and not other rotations of the same pitch structure, okay? So let me start with some relations between this new scale and a few other scales. Okay, so I have to share another screen now. Okay, stop sharing. Okay. Okay, do you see the scales? Great, okay. Can you hear this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is the C. Verbuncos minor scale. Some of you perhaps know it as the Hungarian Gypsy scale. So I'll play it. So So that would be the C Verbunkos minor scale, or the Hungarian Gypsy minor scale, Hungarian minor scale, or Gypsy minor scale, which was used by Liszt, of course. So this is a rotation. This second scale is a rotation of the C Verbunkos minor. This is the sixth mode of the Verbunkos minor from A flat. So this is a rotation of C Verbunkos minor. So I'm talking about Verbunkos scale, of course, because they were privileged by Liszt, and this piece by Rosemary Brown is attributed to the spirit of Liszt. So this is the sixth mode of the Verbunkos minor from C, now transposed to C. Okay, and this is Rosemary Brown's new scale. So as you can see, the Rosemary Brown's new scale has a structure that is really similar, really close to the sixth mode of the Verbunkos minor scale. The only difference is in this portion of the scale, where in the Verbunkos minor we have the semitone sequence 2, 1, 3. In Rosemary Brown's new scale, we have 3, 1, 2. So it mirrors that portion of the scale, but besides that, they are identical. But this small difference, this difference that can seem really small, generates a very important property of the scale invented by Rosemary Brown, which is this new scale contains the hexatonic scale that alternates 3 and 1 semitones. So you can see that the scale invented by Rosemary Brown, the new scale, contains the hexatonic. Okay, so it's like the scale uses the sixth mode of the Verbunkos minor and modified it in such a way as to make it contain the hexatonic. And this gives rise to many important properties of Rosemary Brown, of this new scale. So let me get back to the other screen. Okay. So, and now about the property case, this is an original concept by my supervisor, Carlos Almada. We say that a scale has the property K if it meets these three conditions. So it has to have more possible triads than scale degrees. And what do I mean by that? For example, the diatonic scale has 7 degrees and 7 triads. So the diatonic scale does not meet the major scale does not meet this first condition. So the second condition is the scale should allow for the construction of all 4 types of triads: major, minor, augmented, and diminished. The diatonic, for example, allows for the construction of major, minor, and diminished, but you cannot build an augmented triad using the pitches of the diatonic scale. So it also fails to fulfill the second condition. And the third condition, it should allow for maximally smooth cycles. And the diatonic scale has only 2 maximally smooth operations. Of course, you cannot build maximally smooth cycles using the diatonic scale. Now, in order to help our search for the property K in different scales, I created this original graph, which is a modification from Jack Doughtet's and Richard Cohn's cube dance, which adds the diminished triads to the cube dance. So this is the most important modification of my graph. So I add diminished triads to the cube dance. So this is the what I call the omni-triadic space. It has all the triads from the cube dance plus all 12 diminished triads, okay? And all triads are connected by semitone motion. So now let's search for the property K in different scales. Okay, so the diatonic scale does not meet any condition. This is the triadic space of the diatonic scale in the omni-triadic space. As you can see, it does not meet any condition. Now, the acoustic scale also does not mean any of the conditions. You can see that the triads are not connected by parsimonious voice leading, only some of them. You cannot build complete maximally smooth cycles using this scale. And you cannot build all types of triads using that scale either. Okay. Now the augmented scale. Now this scale fulfills condition 2, which is it allows for the construction of the 4 triadic types. So we can build all types of triads using the augmented scale, but we do not. This scale does not fulfill the other 2 conditions. Now the octatonic scale. It fulfills condition 1 because it has many more triads than scale degrees, but it does not fulfill the other 2 conditions. And last, the hexatonic scale. It fulfills 2 conditions. It allows for maximally smooth cycles, and condition 1, it has more possible triads than scale degrees. However, you cannot build all 4 types of triads using the hexatonic scale. You cannot build the diminished triad with the hexatonic scale, so it fails to meet the second condition. Now, Rosemary Brown's Rosemary Brown's new scale. Yes,
sorry
sure.
to interrupt you, but we have 2 minutes to the round table. Can you do a closing of your talk, please?
Sure. So Rosemary Brown's scale meets all 3 conditions, and now you can see 2 maximally smooth cycles in her the new scale, using the new scale. So those are 2 maximally smooth cycles using the triadic space of the new scale. So to close my presentation, this is a musical piece by Carlos Almada that is based on the new scale that uses only the pitches of the new scale. And moreover, it uses both maximally smooth cycles that are possible in the new scale. So in red, you can see the path in the left hand, and in blue, you can see the path in the right hand. Okay, so this is the musical piece, and let me play it for you to close my presentation. Okay, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Erico, for your presentation. We have a comment here in the chat by Robert Morris. Morris, you can open your mic and speak if you want. So we have time for this brief question, and we will delay the beginning of the roundtable in 5 minutes, okay?
Okay. I just noted that this scale is equivalent to a South Indian classical music scale called Senavati. And yes, of course, that scale doesn't have all the properties that the hexatonic scale has, but it relates, as you pointed out, very nicely.
Wonderful, great to know. You mean this scale coincides with that scale that you mentioned, or it's a rotation of that scale? Oh, you're muted.
Morris, you are muted.
What I want to say is that it's a rotation of the Brown scale, yes.
Oh, great to know. Thank you. That's
Okay.
great to know. Thank you very much. By the way, I searched for that scale in both in Ian Ring's website and also William, I think it's William Zeitler's website, and they of course they catalog all possible scales. And this one they call this new scale by Rosemary Brown they call Cartesian scale. But I talked to Zeitler about that, and he said this name was given by him, and he didn't know any uses of that scale in the repertoire.
Well, certainly that's going to be the case because not many people are familiar with the South Indian scale system, but I happen to be, so I noticed that. So.
Great, thank you very much. That's great to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Morris, for your question, and thank you, Erico, for replying. Okay. We have a question from YouTube arriving right now. Let me copy here in our PowerPoint. A second. So I will interrupt your sharing. Okay.
I already done it.
The question is from Felipe Defensor Martins and is about the property K. What motivated its definition? Are there any relation between the three conditions?
Yeah, time was very short and I had to skip that. So K is a reference to Königsberg and to the problem that was solved by mathematician Euler. That problem of the historical problem of crossing all paths of the city of Königsberg just one time. And so that's kind of what we do musically in kind of what Professor Almada did in this piece by him. So he crosses all triads just one time in a cycle. So that's a kind of a metaphor, right? And relations between the three conditions. Well, I'd say so. There are indirect relations. I'm not. Professor Almada, would you like to answer that, perhaps?
Yes. Relations between the three conditions. I think that the most important aspect of the scale, maybe this could answer the question, is the fact that it has the properties from the hexatonic scale, and at the same time it's asymmetrical. So it allows the Brown scale to produce the four triads, which it turns it more versatile, more flexible. Sorry.
So thanks, Almada and Erico,